From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Southpaw, lefty. I call this my night game. UK, blade work.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, how many must-win games can one man lose and still hold on to his job? A future without Tommy Castellanos and or an elite offensive line. And we're generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Why are we being held hostage over 3 games versus teams with a combined record of 11-19? Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. warchantbogo, your promo code. Buy one, get one free. 12 in a box. Buy one box. Get 24 of these bad boys for the price of one. That's how it works with the BOGO code. 7 hours of energy, no sugar crash. Yet, the presence of body-nourishing vitamins that will help accelerate your metabolism, give you better focus, put you in a better mood. Maybe even gives you a better pump in the gym, everybody. That sour apple. Top shelf. VitaminEnergy.com, Warchant BOGO, buy one, get one free. Warchant.com, still $1 for a week. Everybody, come on. Give it a try just in time for like Black Friday to roll around and then put this on your Christmas wish list. Try it before you buy it almost. $1 for a week. Give us a try. Also, a year subscription to The Athletic. What are you waiting for? Corey Clark here as usual. Joining us on the program, his program, my program, our program, the people's program. Corey Clark, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. Thanks for asking, Aslan. How are you? You have a good Monday?
Well, after we got through the technical difficulties of this show, which might have been my fault, I guess. I don't know, man. I didn't even bother to read the 3-2-1 because I looked at the comments and it felt very pro keep Mike. And then I was expecting Jeff to bring some fire and brimstone, and he did not bring fire nor the brimstone. Shout out Tom Lang, though. Shout out Tom Lang, agitated, frustrated, eloquently wrapping all of his thoughts up into speaking, I think, for me and many people out there. But, I can't let this affect me. I can't let this affect my response, Corey, the ups and the downs of the season. I need to focus on my life, what I can control, and just trust the process. So that's what I'm going to do. What about you? How was your Monday?
It was good, buddy, other than them telling us the Norvell press conference was 30 minutes earlier than we all thought. That was we got 20 minutes of notice of that.
Yeah, it was cool.
So if you watch the video, am I in the video?
Yes, I kept it. Yeah, but I kept it in there.
Sweet,
buddy.
Perfect. Yeah. So when you see me walk in front of Norvell to my seat, yeah, it's 11:03 or 11:02, and he started at 11, but he usually starts at 11:30
on the
and
dot.
I got notified at 10:40. Hey, they're probably going to be doing it at 11, and I was still at my house because why wouldn't I be? Yeah. I had 50 minutes, I thought. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, good Monday overall. I don't know what you glean out of Norvell. I was thinking about it, Aslan, as I'm wont to do, because I heard Tom talking a little bit on Jeff's show about he compared it, I think, to
making the cut.
Making the cut at a golf tournament. Yeah. He's like, what Norvell has done with these 2 wins over Wake and Virginia Tech is like, the cut line is +3, and he was at +10, and then he made a couple of birdies. He got 3 birdies and 4 holes, and now if he birdies these next 2 holes, he finishes 5 over, which is great, but you still miss the cut, which is a fine analogy. My response to that would be, okay, does that mean you get kicked off the tour? Or
no, but you don't get to play in that tournament anymore.
Do you go to the next week and see if you can make the cut next week? And do you feel better about yourself and your game because of what you did on the final 9 holes on Friday? Does that make you feel better? Does that give you a little more confidence going into the next tournament? That, you know what, maybe not next week. Next week I might not only just make the cut, I might finish top 10. I'm feeling that good about the way I finished out that round. That's that. I think when you look at where this thing is, and that's why I think it all comes down. I saw a post on the message boards. I actually replied to it because I can't remember who posted it. They recapped it.
Noel Daddy, man. Noel Daddy's
Noel Daddy. I'm sorry, Noel Daddy. That's on me.
He's our co-producer now these days.
Yeah, he said that I said they should keep Mike Norvell if he beats NC State, and I didn't. I don't mean to have said that. If I said that, I said they definitely could keep Mike Norvell if they beat NC State. And again, I come back to, and I wrote this in the reply, was not to give it away, but folks, this is the kind of stuff you get on Warchant message boards.
That's right.
You get sometimes you get a reply from an Ira or a Corey or an Aslan or a Gene. Tom too sometimes. Matt's in there all the time mixing it up. That if he beats NC State, right, Aslan? Let's say he beats NC State. Let's work on that theory. He's not going to be fired that weekend, right?
Yeah.
He's kept his job.
Yeah.
So then one singular game against Florida becomes a $80 million game, essentially. Because I don't think you think. I know what you want to happen. I get what you want to happen. But I don't think you think that if he wins out these next two games and finishes 7-5 with a chance to win 8 in this current landscape, that he will be fired. I know you want him fired. But I don't think you think that he would be fired if he won these next two games.
Well, why is the NC State game an $80 million game then?
It is. I guess that's my point. Like if he, in the sense that if he loses the NC State game, I think he's done. I know that doesn't make a ton of sense. It's hard for me to articulate it, but I just think it's foolish, completely foolish, to say, Mike, if you beat Florida, you get to keep your job. If you don't, you lose your job. You either believe in this guy or you don't. And him losing to NC State would be the last bit of data and proof that I need that this is, I don't want to, you don't need to see this anymore. That would be 2-14, right? 3-13 in the ACC in 2 seasons. No road wins. I know it's just one road win, so you're what? Instead of 3-13, you're 4-12. Yip-de-doo. But you've tripled your ACC win total. You've tripled your overall total from last year. You've made real strides, and I think we can all agree he's made real strides. He has not made enough. We all understand that. But he has made real strides to where if he beats NC State, I don't know how you could then say, okay, great, but you better win this game in the swamp or you're done. I just don't think that's how you run a program. If it's coming down, if you only think the only way he should keep his job is to beat Florida to get 7-5, fire him now.
Okay.
You clearly don't believe in him. Right? That's what I don't understand. So when I say if he wins out, I think when he wins out, if and when he wins out, and I know that's a big if, there's tangible proof. It's not just my eyes. It's not your eyes. There's tangible proof that with results in place that this was a much better team. Still not good enough. We get it. 5-5 in 10 games against real teams. But compared to what it was last year, it was not a historic rebuild, but it got built a little bit. So, again, 7-5 after 2-10. If you didn't fire him after 2-10, it would seem crazy to fire him after 7-5, in my opinion. And I just think, I think the NC State game again gives you a little more runway. If he loses it, you got all day Saturday, all day Sunday to figure out when you're going to make the announcement. There's no point in him coaching. I just can't imagine going into that Florida game not knowing if he's going to be your head coach in 2026. That's like you're putting all your eggs into that dumb basket. We need to know by this weekend, one way or the other. If he wins, and I think Ira kind of touched on this in the 3-2-1. If he wins, and if you think he's the guy, then just announce it and let's be done with it and let's move on. If he loses, announce it and let's be on. The waiting game and oh God, now and again I say that because I think if you lose to Virginia Tech at home, that's a bad enough wound, scar, look that you're like, no way, this is too much. This is embarrassing. And I think if you go another whole ACC season without winning on the road, that's embarrassing enough to say that's done. That's done. And look, this is embarrassing anyway that we're having these conversations. I get it. I'm just saying to think that if he wasn't fired after Stanford, to think that you would wait until the Florida game to be like, that's where it all rides. That's not how you run an organization, man. They need to make the announcement and make the decision after the NC State game, and that's why I think the NC State game is the most important game. If he wins that game, you say, look, we've seen enough. It is better. We're going to save $30 million. He's coming back, and we're going to and also he's going to give us a discount He's giving some money back whatever you have to do to make it palatable. And if you lose, I'm saying if they're the way I view it happening, because I just think if they were dead set on making a change, it would have been done after Stanford or Clemson. But they didn't take that opportunity to do that. They let him get these 2 home wins. And now he's got a chance to get for him, a monumental win on the road. For us, it's a 6th win in 11 games. Yeehaw. But for him, it might be a career saver. And you can't go into that Florida game with more speculation. We don't want to spend our Thanksgiving like that, Aslan. Just give us some resolution, one way or the other. If he, like, literally, I think that would be the plan. I think that Sunday after the NC State game, maybe that's Saturday, I guess, since it's a Friday night game. If he loses, which I know a lot of you think he will because it's a road game, why wouldn't you? You're smart people. Go ahead and don't put it all in the flipping Florida game. That's just not how you run an organization. Like, figure it out by game 11. The Florida game is an exhibition game. Again, I know it's Florida. I get it's a big deal to the people listening to the show. I'm not diminishing that. But you're playing an interim coach in a team that's going to have 4 wins at best and probably 3. You win that game. That gets you. That makes you keep your job. You get to keep your job.
Lose that game, if you lose that game, you keep your job because you beat NC State. Though, I mean, it's.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think that's like? Do you think they're really going to make a decision on that one game? That's why I think the NC State game is the better barometer. How you finish in the ACC is a better barometer.
Can we just take Michael Alford at face value and that, like, they're just going to, the plan was to get to the end of the season and then figure it out and then calculate everything, audit it, tabulate it, and then make a decision. Because
you think if they win the next 2.
Let me just finish this one last thought. We've been talking about whether this is punitive or, like, deserving, like, in terms of the moves you make on Mike Norvell. It would be punitive, and it would be punitive to do it in season. You can go to the end of the season and then make a decision, and I think everybody would be at peace. It would make, if they finished 7-5 and you fired him, if they were 5-7, if they were 6-6, I think once you get to the end of the season, you're able to take a deep breath for a weekend. You can make a case either way, and then you move forward. So, yeah, I mean, why can't we not just operate right now that we're going to have to see the next 2 games, and then we're going to make a decision?
I get it. That's probably what's happening. I just, when you really take a step back and think, man, that Florida game, if he beats NC State, or if he loses to NC State, so he can either lose his job with a win, with a loss at Florida, or he can save his job with a win. It's like, man, if you're having to beat, and you could say this for both games, but I think the ACC game, a road game, a place you never play well, you could actually win on the road. Wouldn't that be something? You guarantee that you're in a bowl game already. But if you're going to say that somebody's entire career comes down to one game, and this isn't like playing violins for Mike Norvell. I'm saying, like, you think the Florida game is so important that if he loses that game because Squirrel White muffs a punt, that all of a sudden he's not good enough. But if Squirrel White holds on to that fair catch and you get a first down, the game's over, and you win 21-20, that's good enough.
Hey, man, Scott Norwood missed a field goal. Marv Levy had to live with that for this whole life, man. Players don't deliver for you. You lose, you wear the loss too, man. This feels this feels overly sympathetic to Mike Norvell, and it's frustrating.
Oh, I'm not trying to be sympathetic. I'm saying he should have been fired after Stanford. I'm on record as saying that. He should have been gone after Stanford. This is what you created by not doing that, in my opinion, is you gave him a runway to save his job. Well, then, if
he's done enough to save his job since then. That's the thing, Corey. I think that's
sure. He saves it from week to week, right? But has he done it? Is 7-5 enough? Is 6-6 enough? Like, what's the point of letting it all ride on a Florida game? What's the point of that? If he's gone, let's know before the Florida game. Even if he wins the NC State game, James Franklin calls back and is like, you know what, I'm in, and I'll do it for $2 million a year. Mike, I'm sorry, we got some news. You're out. Please coach us in Gainesville. If you don't want to, that's fine. We got Odell. But please coach us in Gainesville. It'd be a cool way. Like, I'm all about that. Like, I think he should have been. I think he should have been let go after Stanford. I'm not at all confident that he is going to turn this thing around and make it great. But make it great again. But if he's here right now, he is the head coach. Presumably, he is still the head coach and can save his job with another win or two. It's like, well, if you're in that position, what in the world are we doing? What in the world? And I'm talking about, again, whatever happens on Sunday, if you go into that, whether they've beaten NC State or lost NC State and nothing has been announced, then you're going into that Florida game thinking, well, golly, if he wins this game, he probably keeps his job. What? The $60 million depends on this? Like, I just think it needs to be squared and figured out by this weekend coming up.
All right.
One way or the other. You either believe in the guy or you don't.
Second generation starts us off in the mailbag.
Oh my gosh, this is a mailbag show.
Yeah, that kind of generating discussion. We'll have to circle back and insert the video of something in here to give a winner out. Second generational says this question's for Corey. It's a little bit aggressive, Corey. Buckle up. How many must-win games is Mike allowed to lose? In some form or fashion, you said Mike was coaching for his job against Pitt, and he was coaching for his job against Stanford. Now he's coaching for his job against NC State. Please tell us we're not going to have to listen to the same must-win at Florida, which, yeah, you're not going to, everybody. He clarified that. Should we lose this coming Friday?
No, I think I really thought the Wake game and the Virginia Tech games, because how bad a look it would be to lose at home to those two teams, although Wake is going to finish with 8 or 9 wins, which is incredible. But I thought those were absolutely must-win games, and I think, honestly, if we're being truthful with ourselves, the Stanford game might have been a must-win game. He didn't win it. We'll all find out in 2 weeks if that ended up being a must-win game. I can tell you this. I think if they had won that Stanford game, the conversations around Mike Norvell would be a lot more, tepid, but he didn't. So, I thought I have been impressed with the way they played at home these last 2 games after that Pitt game, because that was gross. I think the second half of the Pitt game and both halves against Stanford were the 3 worst halves, the 6 worst quarters they played all year. Since then, I think they've been fine. They beat the crap out of Wake. I thought they played hard against Clemson. They just dropped the ball. They didn't execute well. And I thought they played pretty well against Virginia Tech. They've been better since. But yeah, man, you can't go a whole season and lose on the road every game, in my opinion.
2 years in a row.
You can't.
Yeah.
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, you don't win a road game. In the ACC. In the ACC. You're going to follow up a 1-7 ACC with a 2-6. I know 3-5 is barely better than that, but it is better than that. It is better than 2-6. And so, yeah, I think that when I say yes, if he loses NC State, in my opinion, that's got to be a wrap. That's got to be a wrap.
We got him, everybody. We got him. We got him on the record, everybody. We got it.
What are we doing otherwise? I guess I don't want to give Florida the satisfaction of, maybe this is where it all comes from. I don't want to give Florida or its fans the satisfaction of they dictate Florida State's coaching hires and fires. Right. You lose to Florida, you're gone. You beat Florida, you stay. Oh, you beat a 3-8 Florida team, you get to stay? Screw that, man. Let it be known before that game. Don't give those people the satisfaction of they get to dictate the future of your program. So make it come down to the NC State game. That's what I would do.
Well, yeah, man, we're 16 minutes or so into the mailbag, and we have a lot of other questions that are pretty much on the same branch of what we just talked about. But as we come back to this part of the program, because you know how it works with generating discussion, everybody. In case you don't know, I'll walk you behind the curtain real quick. We usually do the whole show, then we record the video, then I drop it in somewhere. Maybe not the most efficient use of my time in the way of doing it, but that's the way we do it. It actually worked out fine because we did most of the show before we found out that James Franklin's now off the board. Virginia Tech apparently is going to sign him to, I think, a pretty sizable contract, Corey, because apparently Penn State's just going to give him $9 million, which means he's going to probably get, plenty of money from the folks in Blacksburg. Shout out, congrats to them. I was never totally in love with James Franklin, but I think he's an upgrade over Mike Norvell. And, Virginia Tech's a fan base that's been starved, and they made a pretty bold move on Monday morning.
Yeah, and you wonder what all that – me personally, all the stuff and all the smoke that came out on Saturday about them being in talks and Virginia Tech wants an answer. They don't want to make it wait much longer. I think that might have had to do with Florida State, honestly. I don't know what else he was holding out for, because Virginia Tech has been the talk for a month. And the fact that he still hadn't committed to them makes me think that he thought Florida State was a viable possibility. I could be completely wrong. That's complete speculation. But apparently Florida State either was never interested or lost interest. And but maybe because they don't think they'll need a coach next year. I don't know. But, yeah, I definitely think, and I've said it multiple times, I would have taken James Franklin. I think James Franklin is has proven to be one of the better coaches in the United States. I don't know how anybody could argue with that. Look around. Who do you want more? There's no way you would use more than two hands to list the coaches that are better than James Franklin. And he was out there to get, and you didn't get him. But that a lot of that, I'm sure, has to do with money and what he might have been owed by Penn State, what you were going to have to pay him, blah, 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 blah. So cross him off the list. Cross him off the list. He's no longer a candidate. And now you look at it like, man, again, everybody has to come from somewhere. But you look out at this coaching carousel and who's on it. I don't know, man. There's not a lot of slam dunks, I would say, out there right now. It's a bit of a bummer if you're going to be looking for a head coach, which Florida State might be.
So I want to pat ourselves on the back. I think we're fairly a self-deprecating podcast, which is sometimes, I think on the whole is a good thing, but sometimes we need to kind of maybe celebrate some of the things that we said. So back when this job opened in 2019, I think the two names that you bandied about the most, one was James Franklin and the other was Brent Venables. Now, I know Brent Venables did not get off to a great start in Norman, but they look pretty poised to make a playoff run right now. Obviously, I was on the Lane train, so maybe we need to get our heads together and figure out who would be a coach out there. Not a slam dunk, but who you'd want to look after. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah. They might just have to stay pat. We got some angst. Let's get the rest of the angst out of the way, Corey. Random_John is angry, Corey. Let's say Florida State wins out, sinks into a bowl. What exactly about the last 2 years tells anyone this program is actually progressing if the coaches are ultimately judged on four things: recruiting, development, win-loss trends, and road performance? Which I don't know if is that like part of the Neyland formula for victories for Tennessee.
I don't know if that was John Wooden's pyramid or not, winning on the road, but yeah, man, their home performance too. None of it's been great the last 2 years.
Yeah, which of those four pillars would clearly support keeping Mike beyond this season? Then we got FSU 71 and his awesome avatar. It's a pug. Handsome-looking pug. If Mike Norvell's retained, how fun will it be covering Florida State football for you guys going into 2026? For me as a fan right now, I think I'll be pretty unenthusiastic. Yeah.
Until they beat Alabama.
We'll have to take some time off, I think, so we don't piss each other off. And by that, I mean me pissing you off, because I'm not going to have
more of the same over and over. I get you. I got you.
One real quick thing before we get to the actual question. This is generating discussion sparked by Cummins we're about to get to. Actually, Can you push the button?
Oh, sorry. And I didn't make the noise. I didn't make the noise at the request of my ex-wife, who apparently doesn't like hearing that noise, which I don't quite understand.
Oh,
there you go, Aslan. There, you like that, Shanna? You like that noise?
It's generating discussion. It's sparked by Cummins. Follow them on Instagram, Cummins Lifestyle. As you all know, it's just one word, smush it together, and look at all the cool things you can do when you have portable power in your arsenal. Portable power generators and RV generators. The world's most installed RV generator for a reason. They've been doing it for over 100 years. Everybody,
wow.
Cummins Lifestyle. Check it out over on Instagram. Kevin P's got more than what's on the screen, Corey, but he says, at this point, I'm not even mad at Mike. I've never been a fan of his because the lack of recruiting has been poor, in line with FSU standards. What I am angry about is how the administration has handled this situation. You mean to tell me these last 3 games are going to determine the future of the football program and not the last 6 years? Let's say we go 7-5 to end the season. We go into 2026 with a whole new offensive line, likely no Deuce, and 30 to 40 new portal guys. Please tell me why I should be enthusiastic about 2026. Because if this all plays out this way, I feel like we are cooked from a program standpoint because of the administration, no matter who the coach is. So, yeah, I don't know who's going to be less enthusiastic, me, you, the show, or the people who listen to it, Corey.
Well, I would be more enthusiastic. If they went 7-5, I mean, you did go 4-1 in your last 5 games, gang. That is something. Let's not just lose sight of that because they're not playing in the Orange Bowl. That would be a significant step up, but that's 2 big wins they have not gotten yet. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if they did run it back, if they do go 7-5 and run it back, number one, yeah, you probably won't have Deuce. You will have a brand new offensive line. Might have a new quarterback. If Gus Malzahn is here and Herb Hand is here, you're going to have a good offense. I was confident in that back in January. I was confident of that in March. I was confident of that in August. Gus Malzahn knows what he's doing. Clearly. They are probably not as good as their raw stats say they are offensively. We've watched those games. They've struggled at times against bad to mediocre defenses. But on the whole, this is a good offense. If you care about yards and points and how you judge those things, judge an offense, they're good. Even without a good quarterback throwing the ball, even with only one real wide receiver threat and no running backs that have stood out and been extra special, they've still managed to have this kind of offense. So I definitely have trust that the offense would be fine. So maybe you could be enthusiastic about that. Maybe there's a quarterback that comes in the portal that gets you enthusiastic because that is a huge piece. That's a huge piece. Look around the country, man. That is the piece when it comes to getting excited about a program or a season is who the quarterback is going to be, and maybe you go get a good one. Or maybe Sperry sets the world on fire. Who knows? I will say this, I get it. There's no reason anybody would be enthusiastic going into 2026 after a 7-5, 7-6, 8-5 season. There just isn't. But you weren't enthusiastic going into this season at all. None of us were. And then all of a sudden they're number 8 in the country. And I know it didn't turn out to be a number 8 football team in the country, but you will be enthusiastic again if they go and win games. That's just how the world works. That's how life is. Nobody was enthusiastic about this team in 2022 after the 3 straight losses. And then obviously you're very excited when all those guys came back and you had real enthusiasm in 2023 and 2024. So, I get it. I don't know that the fans' enthusiasm is going to be what dictates this coaching decision because, again, the finances are real. And with Franklin out of the question, you go 7-5, 8-5 with this coach after 2-10. I just don't know that you blow that up to go get a risk, to go get a not slam dunk. But I understand the people that would want to do that because Norvell is in year 6. And the 6th year has been as maddening as any of them, probably the most maddening, honestly. Year 5 was just a complete cluster F. But 2025, year 6 has been just completely maddening and frustrating, and I get it. Let's just see how the season plays out, and that's why I'm not sure why, if he beats NC State, just let us know one way or the other on Sunday or Saturday. Don't make it come down to the Florida game.
My 2 concerns, 2 of many concerns, if they were to run this back, is I do wonder if Gus just put all of his eggs into the basket this season. Not to say that he would mail it in next year, but there might be an edge to him this year. Like this was his money year, if we want to use like a player metaphor. Like this was his money year to get back either a head coaching job in the SEC if that was his dream, or maybe land another job that he felt would be better than UCF. So like, will he have the same level of enthusiasm and vigor that he had this year? Maybe, probably shouldn't bet against it. But then also quarterback, man. I mean, neither of these guys have recruited a good quarterback in a long time.
Right.
So they're going to be the guys picking it out again, which goes to the point I wanted to make. Not really don't want to make, but shout out to Jeff. Check out the Jeff Cameron show. But he was talking about Venables and how, this comprehensive review that's going to happen after the season. There could be a lot of things that change, and maybe it won't be the head coach, but a lot of things could change. At Oklahoma and Norman, Jeff was pointing out, they went to the NFL model. They brought in Jim Nagy, who did the Senior Bowl evaluations, ran the Senior Bowl. So he's a guy that's got plenty of evaluation experience. But it wasn't, hey, Brent, just
Just oversee, be a CEO, man. Just be cult of personality. It was a go coach the hell up out of the defense. We'll figure out the offense. We'll go get a coordinator and a quarterback, and we'll get some other good pieces. Worked out so far so good for Oklahoma. Maybe that's what you do with your Florida State. But it's like, man, how many chances does somebody get? Like, you couldn't be the offensive coordinator. You couldn't be the play caller and wouldn't work. The CEO thing didn't work out. So now we're going to try this. It's incredible the amount of.
I think that's where the debate comes in. Is you say it didn't work out, but you can't define what you were expecting this season to be. Like I know you weren't expecting 9-3. I know you weren't.
Success was going to be in the mix in November. They were not in the mix in November. They were done by.
They happen to string their losses together. That's not ideal. But I'm saying nobody that's upset with him right now, maybe you not included, but most people that are upset right now, and that's all of us, none of us were expecting 10 wins. Most of us probably weren't expecting 9 wins. Well, 7's right there. And if they do get 7 wins, and if you're going to judge somebody on just wins and losses, nobody can define what they were expecting. Like, nobody's like 8 wins or bust, 8-4 or bust, because you're still Florida State. Is the standard 8-4, or is the standard the playoff? Because now you're just discerning one game. You're sparsing by one game, which doesn't make sense. I don't think this guy has done a good enough job in 2 years to keep his job. These last 2 years, I don't have trust that 2026 will be good enough that Florida State is in position to win a championship. I also don't have to cut him a check, you know. Yeah. 4, there's no Brent Venables out there to go get. So that's the other problem you have, is I don't know that there's a surefire other than Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly will raise the floor significantly. Want that mess on your hands? By all means, do it. And heck, he might win a lawsuit against the state of Louisiana and be a gazillionaire and not want any money. But other than Brian Kelly, there's nobody out there that I think is proven that absolutely will turn this thing around. So if you think this guy is slowly turning it in the right direction, going from 2-10 to 7-5 or 6-6, then maybe you save yourself $25-30 million, see if he can keep it steered in the right direction. If not, you fire him next year and get Hartline. Or you get Hartline right now. Or you get one of those hotshot coordinators right now. I'm all for either one of them. I just want it to be done between NC State and Florida. I don't think we should wait until Florida. We meaning the collective we, all of us together.
Yeah, just on the way out, back to the question, I think what will make me enthusiastic, or at least tolerate what's about to happen, like this is it then, right? This is the end of the line in 2026. If he survives, if he goes whatever this year, and he has a job, next year, it's playoffs or bust. So much to a point, Corey. I think they could pull a Clemson 2024. I think they could go 9-4 and win the conference and make the playoff. And I think if they lost and didn't look good in the playoff, I think he would be done. Like, I think that's
all right,
the level, because it's,
again, depends on what's out there, right? Depends on what you want to go get. But yeah, look, man, there needs to be drastic improvement shown. If he wins these next 2 games, that is 4 out of 5 games, but that's an enormous if because he doesn't win on the road. So I'm assuming they're going to win these next 2 games just because it's fun to have Florida State in complete chaos. But there's a chance, probably a good one, they're going to lose both of them.
Can we agree that maybe we did not have a particular number or a well-defined hallmark that he had to hit this year, but he has to make the playoff next year if he comes back? He has to make the playoff.
I mean, that's a little too. I get what you're saying. There's a world where you go 10-2 and don't make the playoff. If you go 10-2, you're keeping your job. You know what I'm saying? Like Cristobal might go 10-2 and not make the playoff. So, but yes, they need to be in contention. You don't need another 7-8 win campaign if you want to keep your job. But we also don't know at all if he's keeping his job. Friday night might be the last time he coaches Florida State. Depending on how, if they go out there and lose 40-6, that's it. That's a wrap. You're done. It just is. It is.
That's a crazy.
There's no way you can come back from that. And I say that after they lost to Stanford.
That's such an improbable bar. Just like that. They're not going to lose. I mean, I'm not saying Florida State's going to win the game. They're not going to lose 40. They will not get blown out. Yes, kudos, man. They play hard. Iowa played hard. Iowa lost to
Mike
Southern Cal.
Norvell. That's what I want is my Mike Norvell. His teams play hard. Yeah. No, man, none of this is good enough.
Yeah.
It's just we have to attack it. I heard Tom or Ira talking about this on the Smash. You have to attack this it was on Jeff's show. You have to attack the conversation with the money playing a role. It is not insignificant. It's just not. And that's a ton of money to spend on somebody not to coach. You can do it. Do you want to do it? Yeah. That's the question that will have to be asked. And clearly this isn't good enough. Nobody's saying this is good enough. They, in hindsight, made a bad decision to give him this money. But would you be compounding it if you paid him most of that money not to coach you anymore? I don't know. But they're going to go 12-0 next year anyway, so we'll all be happy.
Yeah, right. I'll be one of the guys pissed off while he's hoisting the trophy.
That's right, man. Oh, that's right. No, he didn't say that. He said you'd be celebrating with him. You're pissed off now, but you'll be celebrating with him when he's hoisting that crystal ball or whatever they give to the champions these days.
Weird. More show coming up. I think I've scrubbed every reference to James Franklin in the remainder of the show, but again, we recorded at a weird time, put this in there, and it might be a little bit discombobulated, but just give us benefit of the doubt and check out Cummins Lifestyle on Instagram. Follow them. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com. That's a website. 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Brick and mortar building. Serving up delicious food, everybody. Ice cold drinks, dartboards, pool tables, jukebox, televisions galore. And trivia later tonight at 7 p.m., everybody. Might interfere with the plans to go give some love to Leonard Hamilton during Leonard Hamilton Appreciation Night at the TLCCC. But, it'll be on the TVs, right, Corey? Bill's going to have it on the tube at the CP when the Noles are on because he knows how to run a sports bar.
That's the beauty of Bill, man. He even had on the Friday meet and greet, he had the FSU women's soccer game, round game. By the way, they're in Georgetown for these next two rounds.
Yikes.
It's crazy. Playing in Washington, D.C. in round 2, and if they win that, I think they play Lipscomb. If they win that, they are on to round 3. But yeah, so Bill will have the FSU UT Martin game on starting at 7, along with trivia, which you're going to have a chance to win because I don't think Buy Steph a Drink is going to be there this Tuesday because I'll actually be at the basketball game. So now's the time to come on out. If you don't want to go show love to Leonard and Luke, and you should, but if you don't, you got other plans, you just want to go, relax with a few beers and answer some questions, Tuesday night trivia, Corner Pocket's the place to be. And you'll have a chance to win because Buy Steph a Drink won't be there. The incredible run will have ended.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and Napa Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. warchantbogo, your promo code. Let's do a little bit of a palate cleanser before we jump back into the madness that is talking about the coaches. We go to our guy, Gio Noel. Wake Up to my favorite podcast. Great seeing both of you Friday at the CP. What do you both think about this NC State game and the way they played against that team from down south? Do you think if we get at least one more win to go bowling, what would that possibly, or can we at least get one more win to go bowling? So thoughts on that. And then plus our guy, Jay Lowry, with the NC State game this week, I heard Corey mention NC State at Raleigh is always a challenge for everyone. What gives Corey that belief? Is it because for historically bad record there, or is there something more? I've not been to that away game before, Jay Lowry says. So yeah, playing Raleigh, playing a team that just came off an absolute thrashing at the hands of Miami. This is going to be a dead cat bounce determination game, Corey, because either they were on their way down. They lost 3 games in a row, I think, and then they beat Georgia Tech. Was that their dead cat bounce? And then they come out and they laid an egg against Miami. Are they just going to curl into the fetal position and just be terrible the rest of the way out in NC State? Or was the Virginia Tech game, the dead cat bounce after they lost to Clemson, but they came out and had that one last fight in them Florida State, but then they go back on the road and aren't able to figure out a way to win on the road. So thoughts on playing in Raleigh and an NC State team that's struggling mightily?
Yeah, I don't know why they've traditionally played so poorly in Raleigh, but they have. They even Jameis in 2014, they were down to Jacoby Brissett, big, before he caught fire and threw for 5 or 6 touchdowns. It's just always a struggle. It's always a struggle at NC State, and I don't predict this to be anything different than that. They've also lost some heartbreakers, man. Like the 2012 game is the ultimate heartbreaker. The 2010 game where Ponder's about to throw the game-winning touchdown and Ty Jones knocks the ball out of his hand inexplicably. 2022 where you're driving, you're already in field goal range, and you're driving for the go-ahead touchdown with a minute left, and your really good quarterback throws a pick in the end zone because you don't trust your kicker at the time. Your kicker who now all he does is hit walk-off field goals, by the way.
Yeah.
He beat the Falcons on Sunday, but in 2022 you didn't trust him like that, so you threw a fade to the 5'8" kid in the corner, and he didn't catch it, and you lost the game. Like, it's just always heartbreak in that stadium. Not a lot of blowouts. There have been a few. NC State against Florida State, but usually it comes down to the final minute, and they just miracle a win. And they don't even appreciate it. By the way, that fan base is done with their head coach, too.
They are, yeah.
Especially after that craziness with the reporter after the game in Miami, which Doran, that was such a stupid, silly exchange with the reporter. I don't even know what was going on. I don't even know how he got credentialed to ask nonsense like that. But Doran didn't handle it well because Doran has no personality or sense of humor. And he's 5-5 in year 12. I think going back to that real quick. So I just want people to know I am not I think I've made it clear. I'm not in the camp that they should absolutely under no circumstances get rid of Mike Norvell. Because I don't want to be in year 12 of Mike Norvell and he's 5-5. You aren't NC State. So when you look at the ACC right now, Aslan, who's the best team in the ACC? Who is it?
By record, or who do I think is the best team?
What's the difference?
Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, Georgia Tech, Virginia, SMU, Pitt, they all are one loss. Georgia Tech and Virginia are 6-1. SMU and Pitt are 5-1. Everyone else.
So Georgia Tech has the best record. Georgia Tech needed a 1-point miracle to beat Wake Forest, who you beat by 35 points. Georgia Tech
need a walk-off field goal from 50 yards out to beat Clemson.
Who you lost to. They needed a last-minute touchdown against Boston College to win that game. That's the best the ACC has to offer, and I will tell you this. If Florida State was playing Georgia Tech at home on Saturday night, Florida State would probably be favored, or it would be a pick'em. Like, Georgia Tech's only favored by 2.5 at home against Pitt this Saturday. And Pitt needed, basically, they played well offensively. Your defense played horrible. But that was a very close game. And they got quite lucky when they played Florida State, in my opinion, because of what was going on at the receivers. Also, it was a noon game, which sucked and didn't help anything. Didn't help matters following 2 straight losses. All that being said, there isn't a whole lot of difference at all, between, I don't know where Florida State is in the standings right now, 14th, which is gross, in number 1. Like, talent-wise,
16th.
The way they played for most of the year, like, they are all glommed together. All of them are glommed together. Just ball them up. The difference, that's why I say you can look at Florida State right now and be, well, by God, they're really close to having a 6-2 ACC record and being 7-3 overall and having a real chance to do some things and have a special kind of fun season. They're really close to do that. But they played the important plays poorly. They played situationally poorly, blah, 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 blah. The problem, I think, with people is, why is Florida State glommed together with Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Wake? Shouldn't you be substantially better than them? Do you think if, Alabama was in the ACC, they would be a few bad breaks from being 2-5? Or do you think that under no circumstances would Alabama be 2-5 in the ACC? That's what's so troubling, I think, when you think about the future with this head coach is, I get it's hard to win, and I get that Florida State, I don't think Florida State's much worse at all than any team in the ACC. At all. We've watched these games. They have not been blown off the field, save for the Miami game. They have not been blown off the field by anyone, and yet here they are with this record, and I would like to get to a point where it would take something catastrophically bad luck for Florida State to be 2-5 in the ACC. Now here I am saying, well, if they win this game against a 5-5 NC State team, they could keep their job.
All right. Dalvinism, wake up. A lot has been discussed about how this team has improved since last year, but I think the better question may be how much has the program improved since Norvell took over in 2019? Do you think this program is in better shape now than it was 6 years ago?
It's a fair question. I think it's a fair question, but I don't know how applicable it is just because the sport has changed so much. Like, I do think because I guess I would answer it this way. Florida State has a much better chance of being better quicker than it did in 2019, 2020, right? Whoever the new coach is or whoever the coach is next year has a decent chance of putting together a 9-win team just because this is the world we live in, right?
Yeah, I just don't think we are in the program building sustaining mode. It still feels like we build the team year to year. And there's a lot of people. I don't think Indiana's necessarily a program built.
Right.
I mean, they relied on going to the transfer
portal.
Who is?
Who would you say are the, because this was something I was thinking about. Who are the 5-7 teams? Literally, like, who do you think are the ones that are sustainable year to year? Ohio State, Georgia, who else?
I mean, Texas or A&M, one of those. I mean, one of the Texas universities. I feel like probably. I mean, maybe with Elko, they'll fuss around and be in this kind of position.
Maybe.
Oklahoma,
but they haven't proven to be.
No. I mean, I think Texas has kind of under Sark. I mean, I know they got 3 losses, but they had the unfortunate, fate of having to go play on the road week 1 against the defending national champs. So not great.
Yeah.
But I think Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman, that's durable, that's real. Oregon. So yeah, I mean, it's maybe 5. You need one hand. I don't think you can go into 2. Then you start probably spreading yourself a little bit thin.
Yeah, I was going to say because I would have thought LSU would be one. Well, they fired their coach. They're 6-4, by the way, but they fired their coach. Alabama, maybe we'll see. I don't think that people are completely sold on him yet either, and I think that's just kind of like that's where Florida State fans want to be. They want to be in Oregon. And I don't think that's foolhardy. I think that you should aspire to be Oregon. Obviously, you have 3 more national championships than they do. I'm not saying their program on the whole is better than you, but they've been much more consistent for longer than you have here recently, last 10, 12 years. Be that. You don't have to be Ohio State. You don't have to be Georgia. Be that. That's not that hard. That's not asking too much because you don't. But it is very hard, I guess I should say. When you look around the country and take a step back, there are not a bunch of programs that you're like, well, by God, they're in a much better place than Florida State is next year. They're in a much better place. I mean, it's year to year now. It's year to year, except at those handful of schools. There's like 10 that are always going to suck, and there are 5 that are always going to be pretty darn good, 5 to 10 that are always going to be pretty darn good. Florida State needs to get into that ladder. They need to get in the latter half and be one of the 5 to 10 are always going to be pretty good. And hopefully sometimes you're special. Notre Dame, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, absolutely. I'm not Texas probably under Sark, but again, they're very, very close to having 5 losses this year. But you're right. They have 3 losses, and they've had a really tough schedule.
This dovetails into a good question from upstate South Carolina, Noel. He wants to take a big picture look at college football and how it relates to Florida State's situation. He lists the AP top 12 after this weekend, argues that 8 of the 12 programs are stable or were stable programs going into the current NIL era that we are in. How this relates to FSU, we were not stable going into this era. With this in mind, does it make sense to keep Mike and his staff and let them build something together? Build stability within the program again, or blow it up and start over? With who? There's no sure thing out there. What are your guys' thoughts?
Also, it's fine, but also, like, is this coaching staff going to stay together? Like, that's another part that we don't talk about a lot. Is Tony White going to be head coach next year? Does Gus want to retire or go somewhere else? Like, were these 1-year rentals? Or are these guys here for multiple years? I know they signed a multiple-year contract, but what does that mean anymore? If you could promise me that the whole coaching staff is coming back, and we know that, like, they're signed off, they're not going anywhere, then I could see that argument being made. But the problem is, there's a chance Gus isn't back. There's a chance that Tommy isn't back. A lot of people don't want Tommy back. There's a chance that Tony's not back. And then what? You give this head coach a whole nother year where he has to get 2 new coordinators, 2 new systems, bring all that in again? Like, if that's the case, there's no conversation. Just blow it up all at once. So yeah, I get the stability aspect, and I don't know who the top 12 in the AP are. I stopped looking at that poll 2.5 months ago. But yeah, I think that stability is important as long as you've got the right people in there. I mean, we certainly can't think that Mike Norvell, what we've seen the last 6 years, it's going to be anything but unstable. It is a shifting ground upon us each week. They look great against Wake Forest. They look great against Alabama. They're one of the worst teams in the country in Palo Alto. And they get down 28-3 to Miami. They get down 18-0 to a mediocre Clemson team. Like this, the ground consistently shifts beneath our feet with him. Another year would absolutely help this staff, but would it be the best for Florida State? Don't know.
It's I don't even know like where to go with these questions. Like, do we just, you mentioned Tommy, so it's like I want to piggyback off Tommy, and I don't think it'll get that negative. I just don't want this. I get everybody. Like, I don't want these shows, and Corey doesn't either, and this is like a sidebar, and I'm digressing here clearly, but like, yeah, I don't want these shows to continually just be referendums. Like, where are we at today emotionally? Chat, right? Like, what are we feeling? Yeah. So it's like, do I just, because there's a bunch of questions that are about that. So, but I want to, mix in some other things. Sunrise Knoll, seems like Tommy's regressing as a passer. Can't remember the last time he hit a pass over the middle. I will admit he looked more elusive with his legs against Virginia Tech. So my question is, if Tommy is granted another year of eligibility, would you stick with him, or would you go get a quarterback from the portal? Obviously, all based on Corey's prophecy of winning out and this staff getting another year.
Man, I've been very disappointed overall, especially how he's played on the road, the last 2 road games. But I in the Miami game, frankly, I've been pretty disappointed with the way Tommy's played and kind of answered the call, answered the challenge from a passing standpoint. He has not thrown. You're right. The throws over the middle of the field, they're just not there. You don't see them. He's fine on the sideline. He's made some really nice throws on the sideline. He's made some wow plays. We get all that, but he is not good. It's year 3, and it's also game 10. That was game 10 for him in this offense, and he looked worse throwing the ball in game 10 than he did in game 1. So regression is exactly right. Why would we think that another year would make him any better at the things he's not good at? Well, he is what he is now, and the question would become, again, if they all came back and they finished with 7 or 8 wins, and you look at this team, and Deuce comes back, and you get a stud running back, or Cromall develops into something, you could look and be like, man, they were really close to having a really good year. Is Tommy the guy that gets you over the hump? Tommy, I think, was a perfect stopgap quarterback. Like, just make it better. Make a better quarterback. Get us out of bad plays. Go win us some games and get us some yards. He's done that. Not at a great level, but a decent enough level compared to last year. But I don't think he's the quarterback. As I've watched him now for 10 games, I don't think he's the quarterback to lead you to the next level. I don't think he's going to make those throws on 3rd and 11, 3rd and 9, over the middle of the field. He's just not. Gus is really good at dialing up some stuff. But I wonder how many of Tommy's throws have come on, like, just obviously most of them are to Deuce, but all the other big plays he's had, other than a couple they're either deep shots or screens. There's nothing really intermediate at all, and that's where the great ones live, is in the intermediate, the 15 to 20 yard throws, and also in the red zone. Those throws in the red zone, and he has been completely lacking in the red zone throwing the football. And yes, so long answer, I would go get somebody else, because I think for this offense to really hit another gear, another level, you have to have a more talented throwing quarterback, even if at the expense of losing some of what he gives you with his legs. But he didn't give you a lot with his legs. Yeah. From like game 3 to game 10. Didn't give you a lot. So what was the point?
I only want to give you like 15 seconds on this, Corey. Would this team be any better if Kyron Drones was a quarterback?
Don't put a governor on me.
Well, because we got a lot of things to get to, and it's really not that important of a question. Like, would they be better if Kyron Drones was the starting quarterback?
No. Okay. I don't think so. I don't think he's as gifted a runner as Tommy. He's tough. Yeah. I don't think he's as gifted a runner, and I think, honestly, he's a worse passer.
Okay.
From what I saw, anyway. He doesn't have Deuce to throw to, so it's hard to know. Yeah. But, no, I don't think so. I think they'd be better with Klubnik.
Okay. Fair. Miss Webb Silver Chief. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your entertaining coverage of our Noles 2025 campaign thus far. I participated in the Warchant over-under this past weekend and was really disappointed that Squirrel White did not hit the over on that .5 catch.
Yeah, crazy.
Why do you guys think Tommy can't seem to hit any of our receivers with any regularity other than Deuce?
There is a chance he can't see any of them.
He's been going to LaWayne McCoy a lot, man. LaWayne McCoy has emerged as the legitimate number 2 receiver in this offense, but I don't know what that really means because it's all to Deuce and nothing but Deuce. Is it the accuracy, Corey, just feeling? If you put it in a decent amount radius around Deuce, you're either going to get PI, holding, he's going to come down with it, it's going to be incomplete. There's a lot of good things that can happen, but if you're running, secondary, third, tertiary routes over the middle to LaWayne McCoy, you got to be a little tighter, and there's some more traffic under there, so maybe he's a little more hesitant. I don't know. Yeah,
and I just think the margin for error, like you said, the margin for error with Deuce because of the catch radius is so much more substantial than with LaWayne McCoy or Squirrel White. Like those aren't big guys, and you have to be more fine with your throws, and he isn't. So and he's made some good throws to Mackay, especially down the field, but not lately. I don't know what Danzy's done the last 2 or 3 games, but certainly not much in the passing game anyway. I think it's, he sees a 6'6" guy. When you're a small quarterback and you've got a big 6'6" guy, he is the easiest guy to see on the field. There is a chance, honestly, let's think about it, everyone. He's a 5'9" quarterback. Everybody in front of him that blocks the middle of the field is all 6'4" and above. Can he see the middle of the field? I don't know that he can see the middle of the field to throw it. Well, that's where McCoy and Danzy and Squirrel White probably are living, but you have a quarterback that can't see him, and that's why height isn't everything when it comes to a quarterback. I get it, but it's a big deal. That's why they want the 6'4", 6'5" guys. So when an offensive lineman is engaged and he's a little lower because he's getting into his legs and using all his force to keep somebody away, he's not standing up at 6'6". He's more closer to 6'2". He's losing or 6 foot. Tommy can't even see over that. So, go get the kid from Duke. I know he was terrible or he was pretty bad against Virginia. That kid's awesome. Why is he at Duke?
Darren Mensah.
What's he doing there? What's he doing there, Aslan? And would you take Summerall tomorrow if he guaranteed that Mensah came with him?
Yes. Yeah. I like that guy. He gives a different
So I don't disagree with that. I honestly don't disagree with that necessarily. I think those two guys would be really. Mensah's already proven he can play in the ACC, and that's a great way to start your ACC career if you're Summerall, is to bring in a quarterback. Know you have a QB1 that is an NFL quarterback. That's how, and he can move a little bit. He's not Tommy athletically, but he can move. That's an awesome way to start your career at Florida State, is to have a QB1 you can trust. So if Summerall came to you and said, "Look, I know you're not even thinking about me, but I can bring that quarterback." If I'm offered, I'm like, okay, let's sit down and talk. Are you sure? I need assurances. You guys both need to announce when he announces for Florida State is when we'll announce we've signed you to be our new head coach. Whatever it takes. Yes, to answer that question, definitely need a new quarterback because this quarterback only throws to the big tall guy, and Deuce probably won't be here next year.
College football remains my love, my passion. Best sport in the world, I feel like. But it takes time. It takes time to bake everything up over at Underdog Fantasy Sports. We'll have another pick'em for you folks a little bit maybe earlier in the week since they play that Friday contest. Nothing on the college football slate. Nothing from Tennessee, Martin, Florida State right now. But you know what? You can already bet on the whatever week we're in NFL down the line. What was it, week 9 in the NFL right now? I need to start watching more NFL football. I need to do that, Corey.
Yeah.
But also basketball's available. My guy Luka, I would just say anytime the Lakers are playing, just take higher on Luka. It's easy over at Underdog Fantasy Sports. All you pick is either higher or lower on a point total, rebounds, assists available when it comes to basketball, touchdowns scored, longest rush, longest reception, and you can pick your favorite players, obviously. And then when you do that, you just got to make sure you pick one pick'em from the opposing side. So this week we'll be picking obviously Florida State dudes, and we'll have to throw in one NC State pick'em, which I'm going to make Corey pick higher on whatever the yardage total for CJ Bailey, the quarterback of NC State, is. There's your spoiler. You can do this yourselves, everybody. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. You know it. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
You know what's cool about Underdog, Aslan?
We're
still doing the ad, right? We're
sure.
still doing the ad read?
Sure.
Didn't you say that when Deuce got hurt against Pitt, we got our money back?
We did.
They voided the bet?
Correct.
So all those gambling scandals that we're seeing in the NBA, it's all prop bets, and it's all people taking lower, like taking the under. Lower under, whether you're on Underdog or not. The beauty about Underdog is you can't have college kids like manipulating the system and being like, "Hey, my higher lower is 5.5. Take the lower because I'm gonna fake a sprained ankle in the first 5 minutes of this basketball game, and we're gonna get rich." Because the Underdog completely voids those. It sounds like you get your money back. So you cannot win if somebody leaves a game from an injury. So it's more on the up and up is what I'm trying to say. And it's not being manipulated by college kids trying to throw games or make money for their friends.
Hit him with a disclaimer. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. AI is coming for our jobs. Bots are actively making us fight each other on social media, and a pound of beef costs how much? Life has never been easy, but new stressors definitely complicate things. Oh, and there's you out there having to be a parent in this climate. Or maybe you're going through a bad breakup. Maybe you have to manage an ailing, aging family member. You're making do, but might be a good idea to talk some stuff out. Yes, we've got friends, but it might not be the easiest on-ramp to unload all of our problems onto them. That's where Rula comes in. R-U-L-A. Look, if we pull a muscle at the gym, we'll go see a doctor most times. Access to therapy should be treated the same, but there's high copays and long waits. It doesn't make sense for many, but Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. The average session copay is $15. That's basically the cost of lunch, but instead of a sandwich, you are investing in your own headspace. Thousands of men have already found the care that they need. Don't keep putting it off. Go to Rula.com/wakeup to get started. That's RULA.com/wakeup. Take the first step, get connected. Let's control our mental health. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Warchant BOGO, your promo code. Buy one, get one free. Island Chief. Wake up. In my view, which is at best an obstructed one, with my vision diminished by age and poor choices, there are only bad choices regarding our future in terms of the coaching. Spend $60-70 million to get rid of the staff or hope they can find a way to turn the program around one more time. Neither seems to be guaranteed success. One that costs a lot of money today, the other may cost you a lot more down the road. I don't know if it really would, man, but I get what people are saying. It's just so much damn money. We're just not having this conversation if they didn't spend all that money. My question is there a coach that might be available that you would pay an amount equal to what Mike Norvell receives?
Oh,
I need to ask him a follow-up
That's a great question.
It is.
That's a great question.
It is. Maybe it would have been generating discussion, but you've already won Island Chief, and you won the gift bag for the month that you won generating discussion. So we can't give everything away to the top 1%. My follow-up question to him, Corey, would be, are we operating under, like, would we pay anybody what we're paying Mike Norvell right now and paying Mike Norvell's buyout off? Or are we just saying, would we ever get back in the business of spending $10 million a year for a coach? Is there anybody that might be available? Yeah.
That second one.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, like, I'd pay Lane what Mike makes easily, right? I mean, that's not a...
Who else?
They're, by the way, I don't know how much this matters or not, Corey, but they're not happy in Oxford. They're going through the Florida State.
Yeah, they're angry at him. They're angry at him, right?
Yeah, they're going through the Florida State Jimbo Fisher year 3 flirtation off season. Like, we're over this, man. Like, either leave or tell us that you want to stay. So I wonder.
And I'm all about it. Yeah. So the Louisiana governor got involved with the Brian Kelly situation. Then the Mississippi Secretary of State came out on Sunday and is like, And he added Lane Kiffin in his tweet, and is like, I'm tired of being held hostage by this guy. Make a decision. We've given you everything you've wanted, and you still can't, basically saying, and you still can't come out and say you're going to be the coach next year.
Yeah, here it is. On Sunday, I'm sorry, Corey, on Sunday, the Secretary of State for Mississippi, Michael Watson, retweeted somebody saying that Ole Miss is going to have a very good football coach next year. It may be Lane Kiffin. The Secretary of State retweeted it saying, could not agree more. At some point, it would be nice for our current coach, and he tags Lane Kiffin, to reciprocate the love and gratitude shown by our administration, players, fan base, and collective. It shouldn't be this hard.
Right. And with the Louisiana governor coming out and saying what he said about this is crazy, that like this buyout is nuts. This is nuts what this person did, this AD did, what a state institution owes. Like maybe, and I know this is probably naive of me, the people are foolish. People are starting to think some people in higher offices of power than a podcaster are starting to understand this is all idiotic. This is ridiculous. These college coaches have been just basically flogging fan bases and administrations for decades. And it sure would be nice if it stopped. It got because it just does not happen in the NFL, man. Andy Reid is not always politicking or has his name out for another job. He just doesn't. Todd Bowles at Tampa isn't doing that. Vrabel's had a really good year with the Patriots, right? You don't hear the New York media being like, are the Jets going to go get Vrabel? Is he on their wish list when they fire Aaron Glenn? The Giants are looking for a coach. It's big New York City. They've won 2 Super Bowls, great tradition, 3 Super Bowls. Are they going to go get Vrabel? Is Vrabel on their radar? No, it doesn't happen in the NFL. But in college, because of these effing agents playing administrations against each other, this is what happens. Signetti gets a $60 million extension. Kiffin's going to get whatever he's going to get. And yeah, I'm glad they're fed up with it.
Elko,
like,
right? Elko
too. Like, man, who's coming after Elko?
Yeah.
Like, and he's a really good coach. I'm not saying that. Is he worth that? Of course not. So to answer your question, I probably would do Kiffin erasing Norvell from existence and saying, okay, you're paying your head coach $10, $11 million a year, and you don't owe anybody else anything. Yeah. Kiffin's probably worth it. Dan Lanning is somebody that I think is worth it.
But he's not
obviously
available.
Kirby.
He's not available.
Yeah, no, I know. So, and I don't know that Kiffin would be. We don't even know if Kiffin's available. But yeah, but even still, taking everybody that is available, everybody's available for the right price. Aslan, offer Dan Lanning $38 million a year. See if he's not available.
Summit 2001. Wake up, gentlemen. I'm one of the guys who would be okay keeping the current staff if we went out. All right, never mind. Let's go to a different one.
Right.
With that said, let's talk offensive line. I didn't really know where to go, Corey. I wasn't prepared, so this is the one that was on my screen when I scrolled up. The offensive line this season has been competent. We thought there was a possibility they could be great after week 1, but we ended up being a decent offensive line, which I think most of us are relatively happy with considering last season. Absolutely. Yeah, I think they're better than decent. I think they're good. If the current staff stays, they will probably have to hit the portal for 2 or 3 proven guys. Do you think the current success of the offense would help them lure some really top-tier guys from other programs? What would the ceiling of a Gus offense be with not just a competent offensive line, but a dominant one?
Yeah, it's a good point, but not just with the offensive line. Yes, I think an offensive lineman, it always helps if one of these guys could get drafted. That would be nice. But what Herb Hand and Gus did here in year 1 would be very alluring, I think, to an offensive lineman in the portal. And Herb Hand has a track record. So does Gus. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be physical. That's usually music to an offensive lineman's ears. I don't think they would have trouble getting good candidates, viable candidates to be starting offensive linemen, and also trust their evaluation when it comes to that after this year. Because this offensive line, any way you slice it's been good. It's just been good. It's been a good offensive line. Not the best one in the country, but it's been good. And after the last few years, man, that's awesome. It's good to see. But what about if they do stay, the whole staff stays? How do you get like 2 wide receivers to come here? How do you get, or would you even be in the market for one? How do you get a running back to come here? Because if I'm a running back and I look at these stats this year, it's like, okay, what am I going to get? 4.5 carries a game? I'm going to have to share I'm gonna have to share touches with 5 other guys. Like what is my role on this team? And tell me about this Keziah Holmes character. Like what's the story here? I want the lowdown. Give it to me straight, coach. How does a guy have a carry for 8 yards and then does not play a single snap the rest of the game? Or he comes in did he come in against Alabama and score a touchdown?
Yeah.
And then didn't play again. What's going on? Give me some rhyme or reason to the rotation. I think that would be difficult. I think obviously you look at the receiving core, you've got one guy that's catching everything. How do you make it and also would you get a quarterback? Is a quarterback an NFL caliber quarterback, one that can make every throw? Are they going to be willing to come play for Gus? That's my biggest question mark with bringing them all back. Because if not, then you might as well keep Tommy. But otherwise, you want an offense that attracts top talent. I think you're going to get good talent at O-line, good talent at running back. Gus has proven he can do that. His running back from last year at UCF is starting for the Broncos. Like, he's always going to get running backs, in my opinion. But wide receivers, quarterbacks, don't know. So I think they'll be able to get – if they all stayed intact, though, I think they'd be fine getting 3 offensive linemen out of the portal, 3 good ones, and I trust their evaluation. Like, they've all been pretty darn good, I think. Nothing extra special, but collectively as a unit, it's been one of the best units in the country by any measure. By any measure. Tommy doesn't get sacked a ton. They're one of the top 10 offenses in the country in rushing the ball. Like, what else do you want from an offensive line? They've done a good job, but the problem is they're all 25-year-old seniors, so you got to reset and start over next year.
The good thing about this show, Corey, is that there is some level of synergy. Not as synergistically formulated greatly as Vitamin Energy, but there is some synergy here to where I'll keep one eye on this monitor while you're talking, one of my ears, paying attention to what you're saying, and I'm just kind of trying to scan and figure out the next question that we're going to do most times. And okay. I mean, I read this thing 3 times before we went on air, and then while you were answering that last question, I'm like, okay, I think I finally figured it out. So let's go.
Oh, all right. I can't wait. Let's go.
Noles Roll 83. That seems like a new name. They joined October 2nd, 2025. Sounds like we got them on the hook for more than just a week, Corey. Sounds like they're now a full-fledged member. Welcome. Their question centers around recruiting and how the staff is operating. CB, he puts in there. CB in to flip running back from USCE, which is South Carolina. Juice Edge received CB as well. I'm like, what are we doing here? It's crystal ball. So there's a crystal ball to flip a running back that's committed to South Carolina. There's a JUCO Edge that's received a crystal ball prediction as well. How exactly is the staff operating? What do you think is their sales pitch? Norvell sure seems to be operating like he knows he's coming back, which seems off base from the entire staff here and elsewhere that are in the know. Oh, by staff, he means Warchant, not the coaching staff. Of course, Mike seems like a good guy, so he would probably work until he no longer needs to work, but it sure seems he has confidence he is back. So I guess some recruiting's been going good.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's a fair thing to point out. Like, they are actively recruiting. They are heavily recruiting still. They have not packed it in, and they have not just kind of tipped they're not keeping their toes in the water. Like, they're getting commitments. Yeah. And they're, apparently getting flips. So they're really recruiting hard. But again, that could all be blown up Saturday. But until it is blown up, you have to, if you number one, if you want to get paid and not get fired with cause, you have to still do everything that a head coach is supposed to do and a coaching staff is supposed to do, which is recruit heavily. And so, he has to do that anyway. But I'm with you. I think he thinks he's coming back. But he also thinks he's going to win these next 2 games. Because he always thinks they're going to win.
Is this the good thing about rev share, Corey? Because, my question maybe 2 years ago, if we were going through this, would have been, how is he recruiting? What is he telling players? Does he even have a budget? Like, who in the program would be saying to him, sure, go ahead, keep offering guys. I'll give you this much money for players. But I guess in the rev share era now, we have a good idea of what Florida State's going to commit to paying players legally through the rev share agreement. So he can kind of operate off of that. And then I guess he's also probably extrapolating like this guy's probably not going to be back next year. So let's use that money and save it. So maybe this kind of the rev share world makes it easier to kind of recruit when you're not quite lame duck, but you're not definitely coming back.
Maybe, but imagine he gets fired Sunday after the Florida game, and you announce your new hire on, I don't know, that Tuesday. Think about what that guy has to do. And this isn't just Florida State specific. It's all these schools looking for a job. They have to come in, figure out what their player budget is, like what the budget is for the roster for the next year, who's coming back, what they made that year, what they're going to ask for next year. Like Mekhi Danzy's price probably went up a little bit. The Desir twins might be running this place in a couple years. The money's going up. The price is going up in some cases. You have to figure out all that money, how much money you have to spend, who's on your recruiting your recruiting list, what recruits are committed that you really want. All that in the matter of a few days to weeks.
I mean,
you have to put together your whole roster, like just in a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks, and then go look at all the portal.
I'm looking at the NCAA calendar. Dude, the calendar for the NCAA says that the Division I football early signing period starts December 3rd, and it ends December 5th.
Yeah, man. I mean, are you crazy? Are you kidding me? That's insane.
You can't get anybody on campus.
Right.
The only kid you can get on campus is a kid that's playing at, Leon.
So how's that going to work? Yeah. You fire Mike Norvell on December 1st? Are you November 30th? You hire somebody on December 1st, and he's got 4 days to put together a class and figure out what money they're going to spend on those kids. And then, now we got to talk to the Desir twins and Kevin Wynn and Javian Boggs and Cromaw and see what they want. Who's our quarterback next year? Don't know, coach. Don't know. But good luck. Like, it's like this whole sport is just on goofballs. Just goofballs. Just sniffing glue. Just huffing paint. This whole sport. It's insane what this sport is now. So good luck to whoever the next coach is. Good luck, because you got about 36 hours to just basically put together your entire recruiting class, and then you have about 2 or 3 weeks to keep your roster intact before you go attack the portal. But hey, you don't have to play Notre Dame.
Come on down.
Yeah, man. Come on down, James.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Much more going on later today, this week over at warchant.com.
Basketball today too, man. Big hoops game tonight.
Yeah, like you said, Tennessee Martin, like a legit team right now. So
yeah,
so they stack up. Seminole headlines 1 to 3 o'clock. We'll actually get Gus and Tony later today as well. So right. The schedule got moved. They were off on Sunday. They practiced Monday. They're going to practice today. I guess they're going to get after it today, Corey. I think, quote unquote.
Okay.
So we'll have Gus, Tony, and possibly a player. So check that out. Maybe around 11:30, or I don't know. Maybe they'll wrap early too, and we'll miss the first question or two. We'll see how it all goes. Thank y'all for listening. It's been real. It's been awesome. It's only the Tuesday show. Let's keep responding out there, everybody. He's Corey M. Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free.